Welcome to the Week 4 Assignment Overview for EDLD 5345. This week we're going to look at ethics, legal requirements, evaluating and managing human talent. A reminder that you must complete all sections of this assignment in order to receive a grade for this week. Here are your weekly objectives as well as your course objectives. Those can also be found in Week 4 of the course. Here's your to-do list. You're going to attend or view the recording for the weekly web conference. You're going to view the weekly lecture recording. You're going to read the readings. Read and complete the initial discussion board by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time and respond to 2 colleagues on the discussion board by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is a change from the last couple of weeks. There is a discussion board due this week. And you're going to complete the Week 4 assignment. For readings, we have you reading the T-Test Appraiser's Handbook and the T-Test rubric. We want you to be familiar with both of those documents and the information contained in them. We do not expect you to know them verbatim or be an expert in T-tests. You also have a couple of chapters in the Texas Documentation Handbook, as well as Rethinking Teacher Supervision and Evaluation. As we said, there is a discussion board this week. You have a scenario, and then you have questions to answer. Reminder that that post is due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, as well as 2 responses to colleagues by Sunday at 11:59 Central Standard Time. You have a lecture video on the teacher evaluation system. And just a note, we always get, can I use my own evaluation system? For the purpose of this assignment, we will be using the T-Test system because it is the one from the state of Texas. Know that the research comes from Charlotte Danielson, and that is the research that is used on most, if not all, evaluation systems that have been created. So it is a very viable system. It has been vetted, it has been researched, and that will be the system that we are using for this week. A reminder to our P section students, you have a practicum video and the DAD-R that is due this week. Failure to get those completed by the end of this week and the course could result in you being held and not being able to take the next course. So be sure that you get the practicum video and your DAD-R completed this week. If you have content questions, email myself, Dr. Allen. And if you have questions about technical issues such as UJA and getting your items uploaded into Portfolium, contact Dr. Harrison. So let's talk about the assignment. You're going to see 2 links. You're going to see a Week 5 assignment template link, and you're going to see that case study link that we had from last week. So this week, be sure you're looking at those readings, that you're doing all that work prior to starting your assignment. And be sure that you look at the Week 4 rubric. So part 1 is about an instructional playbook. Dr. Jim Knight is one of the gurus in instructional coaching, and he's the one that talks about instructional playbooks. Instructional playbooks are meant to be a tool for you to use as an instructional leader and to pull quickly when you're working with a teacher on an issue with instruction within an instructional coaching situation or an evaluation system. So it's a quick strategy you can pull either out of a notebook behind your desk on a shelf or digitally. So we're asking you to research and find 1 instructional strategy for each of the core subject areas: math, science, social studies, reading, and writing. And then we want you to have 5 corresponding checklists or walkthrough forms. Those are meant to be that expectation of what you expect to see when you go into the classroom to view that teacher after they've implemented the strategy that you've asked them to implement. So it's a form of documentation for you to show that you worked with the teacher, you showed them the expectations, then you came in and evaluated it. And you may have to go in and evaluate it a couple of times with that checklist or that walkthrough form. So that is what that form is for. So be sure it corresponds with that instructional strategy and the expectations you have. You're going to use one of those strategies in part 2 of this assignment. And just a reminder, if you pull somebody's strategy off the internet, be sure to give them credit. So if you pull one of Jim Knight's strategies off the internet, be sure to give Dr. Jim Knight the credit and use APA format. Here are some ideas for you to help find instructional playbooks and strategies. Simply Google it. When I did that, I found a whole link that had a playbook from Jim Knight. Marzano also has some work on instructional strategies. Kagan has some work, and there are many, many others. Just be sure, if you use somebody else's strategy, which is fine, be sure to cite it with APA. And if you want to get full credit on that rubric, look at that rubric. Be sure that you label which subject area that strategy is going to go with. So let's look at that rubric. In that top end, the candidate's instructional playbook included 5 strategies, 1 for each subject area, and 5 checklists to match. To get the maximum points, you need to label which subject area. If you want to go to that next column and get the next amount of points, which is 20, then don't label it. Part 2, scoring and evaluation and creating a refinement plan. So this is where you're going to use that knowledge that you read in that appraiser's handbook and looking over the t-test rubric. So you're going to look over that case study information again, kind of get a feel for that teacher. And this is a struggling teacher. You're going to look at that t-test rubric again, get a feel for it, and then you're going to kind of work that assignment. You're going to see an evidence form. It's just a sample evidence form. It's not going to be completed. It's not meant to be completed, so don't read more into it than that. It gives you some key points to use in order to rate it on the rubric. So you're going to assign a rating in each one of those domains and place the number in that range column. So let's see what that looks like. So here we have standard 1. You see some evidence. You're going to look over the rubric, and we gave you the link to the rubric, and you're going to score that rating and put that number right here in this column, in the rating column. I don't expect you to be a guru at t-test. You haven't gone through the formal training. You will not be an appraiser once you complete this assignment. It's going to take many more hours of training in order to do that. Just put the rating with what you think and move to the next standard. The IAs are going to look to see if you're close, and if you're not close, they're probably going to give you a little feedback on that. But getting a perfect score is not part of the grade. It's just learning the process. So again, here's that rubric. This is the low end where they need improvement. You've got developing. Most teachers are going to fall in this rock solid teacher range or proficient, but you could have some as accomplished and you could have some as distinguished. Look at the differences between the column to see what you've got to do. Notice right here, possible evidence sites. This can help you as an appraiser to kind of figure out some ways to get evidence in this dimension. So that's just all part of that t-test rubric. Second part of part 2 is creating a refinement plan. So once you have given that teacher ratings on that appraisal, that one shot look at what's going on in their classroom, then you're going to choose and pinpoint a dimension. Now for the coaching plan, we gave you a very specific dimension to do. So choose something different than 2.4 so you get a little better experience with this. Review the t-test appraiser handbook about creating a refinement plan. You're going to create a refinement plan using the template provided, and it is one that comes from t-test. And then you're going to use one of your strategies from your instructional playbook as your exemplar. So be sure to look over your resources carefully. Read that part in the appraiser handbook about creating a refinement plan so you kind of get a feel for what the purpose is and what you're to do. And then you may also want to look at those resources in week 3 about that teacher, because it is the same teacher. We're just kind of building on it. We've done instructional coaching with that teacher. Now we've come in and done an evaluation, and we have that documentation as well. So here is that post-conference refinement plan that you will find in that appraiser handbook. So read that carefully. You've got some sample questions, conference questions, and I gave you a link to those last week, so that might be helpful to you as well. And here is the refinement plan form. So you're going to write the area that you want to refine. Please do not make it 2.4 because we've already done that one. If you do, then you're not going to score well. Going to write an objective for the plan. So what is the objective? What do you want the outcome to be as part of this post-conference? Then you're going to write your reflective questions. Remember, you want these self-reflective questions to be those that you're going to ask that teacher to get them to reflect on what happened in the lesson in the particular area that you've chosen to refine. So you want to lead them to think, oh, that's the area we're working on. So look at those questions. In that question link, they're grouped together by those refinement areas. So look at that carefully. Then you're going to put your evidence. It is okay to copy and paste your evidence, but remember, you only want to put that from your pinpointed area. So not all the evidence from that evaluation, but the one from that targeted area. Just copy and paste it. You do not have to cite that. Just copy and paste it. Then here's where you're going to use that strategy from your instructional playbook. So you're going to put your strategy here and kind of walk through what you're going to tell the teacher to do. So again, here's the rubric. Created a refinement plan for a specific area and used the rubric language. Had reflection questions that were open-ended and led to the reflection of pedagogical change. And the plan provided a clear exemplar model on the strategy suggested for future use by the teacher. And part 3, documentation. We've talked a lot about documentation in this course because this is going to be key to your work with your staff and making sure that you show that picture over time with what you did with them within a year. So we're asking you this time to create 3 very specific forms of documentation for the case study teacher. So you have the case study information from week 3 and week 4 along with this evaluation you just completed. And we're asking you to make a note to file, a specific incident memorandum, and a final chance memorandum. If you want to explore perhaps social media or something outside of academics for your specific incident memorandum, that would be fine. The other 2 need to be within the realm of the case study information. Again, you're going to create 3 specific forms. So the IA is looking for a note to file, a specific incident memorandum, and a final chance memorandum. Remember, you can find those in your Texas Documentation Handbook. If you didn't purchase that, then it's up to you to search Google or wherever to find those forms. You're going to fill it out like you're putting it in the teacher's file, so be sure to fill in that information as well. So the rubric at the top end, the candidate created documentation for a note to file, a specific incident, and a final memorandum. The documentation noted specific information about the observed behavior and the change needed for the teacher. So again, fill out that form like you're gonna put it in that teacher's file. So I'm gonna leave you with a couple of quotes. Coaching is the universal language of change and learning. It's so important for you to work with teachers and coach them in the beginning. Work with them. At some point, you're going to come to that evaluation point. T-test is meant to be a growing process, so that first evaluation may not be that final dot that shows, we're done. It may be a stepping point, but it is a piece of documentation. But coaching them through that is that first part of having that change and having that teacher learn. Success isn't just about what you accomplish in your life, it's about what you inspire others to do. As an instructional leader, you're going to be called to inspire teachers almost daily. You're going to be called to inspire your other staff members almost daily. And you're going to be called to inspire your students almost daily. So remember that. It's not about what you accomplished. It's not about the trophies or the pieces of paper on the wall. It's about what you do for people and how you inspire them. That's what they're going to remember the most. So as you take that this week, have a great week 4. And we look forward to seeing you in week 5.